Hey everybody, on this episode of AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On, we're getting up close and personal with actress and comedian Julie Brister. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes!
Yes.
What a catchy way to introduce us into the Spotlight On here at AFTERBUZZ TV. That's right, folks. Spotlight On is the chance where we get up close and personal with a lot of people behind all the great things that you watch, whether it be in TVs or film. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
And I'm Tara Erickson. You can follow me on Twitter at @TaraErickson. But we're here for
Yes, one only Julie Brister.
Julie
Yep.
Brister. You can follow me on Twitter at @BristaSoldier. That's very complicated to spell.
Now, Julie got her start there in Lubbock, Texas. She headed east to do UCB out there, and then headed west.
I started in Lubbock, Texas. Moved to New York in the late '80s.
ooh.
And was there until 10 years ago when I moved to LA.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna be talking to her about all her career in entirety, but then we're gonna be focusing on her new series, Goliath, Amazon's new series there with Billy Bob Thornton as well. Great eight episode series. Oh, so cool. So we'll be
So
getting
good.
all that, but let's start right at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
It started in Lubbock, Texas. Very dusty plain.
Now, getting your start in comedy, was that always a pursuit of yours? Was it just acting in general?
No, I was an actor and I was a theater major, and I moved to New York to be an actor, and then I immediately got a job, and I worked corporate jobs, and I worked in not for profits and did other things until I was kind of miserable, and I started taking an acting class, and then that was fun, and then I really wanted to get into comedy, and I had done stand-up like a while ago and loved it until I didn't. And then I had seen a couple of shows in New York that I'm like, how do you get to do this? Like, I'd seen Real Life Brady Bunch, and I'd seen a show called One Woman Shoe, this Amy Sedaris show, and it's like, how are you gonna do this? And then a friend told me about the Upright Citizens Brigade.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how it really all began.
So
So my life really began then.
What was it about stand-up comedy that you said you loved it until you didn't? What was it
Yeah.
that kind of turned you off?
Oh, because you like when you bomb, it's a very lonely feeling. And when you're doing well, when you have friends there, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But really, when you bomb, when you are just doing your act for other comedians, that is just the most miserable, dark place that you could be. And I remember the last stand-up
I was
show
gonna say
I
you
did.
probably have a memory.
I absolutely do. It was at Rose's Turn in Sheridan Square, and it was like me, John Fugelsang, and then a couple of other people, and it's just that was all that was there. And John Fugelsang was great, and the rest of us were just kind of like quiet. It was just awful. I was like, why am I doing this? And
Yeah.
and improv, at least you can fail with a whole bunch of people.
That's not,
It's true. Fail as a group.
Yes, because
Yeah.
certainly with improv, you could also play for just improvisers as well.
Exactly.
But when you're right with the other team with you.
The support is built in to
Yeah.
to the whole ethos. So I prefer improv. Definitely. Yeah.
So you don't do stand-up anymore, right? Or do you sometimes still play around with it?
I fantasize about it. I always think, maybe
you get-
someday, but I don't know. I don't know that that's what I'm meant to do.
Yeah. I love it. You've got dreams, kid.
Yeah, I have other dreams. I
Yeah.
don't know that stand-up's that dream.
Got it.
I really don't.
So,
I don't.
so you headed out to New York. You said in the 80s,
Late 80s,
So
yeah.
what was New York like back in the late 80s? How's it changed
Yeah.
between then and now?
It's night and day. Well, first off, forgive me because you missed the New York you moved to. And New York was like, Times Square was still really seedy. It was, New York, it was still kind of had an edge. And not that New York doesn't have an edge now, but New York doesn't have very much of an edge anymore. Like, it's like Manhattan, there were still like scary parts of Manhattan.
And see, you want to live in a place where you're kind of frightened sometimes.
I think
Right.
that's good, right? I
Yeah.
think that's good. Like to not just live in a place that's just this one monochromatic thing. And like at that, I lived in the East Village at that time, and there were a girl could move to the East Village in the late '80s and get an apartment by herself. And
Was Artichoke Pizza there then?
oh, I know that. I know Artichoke Pizza.
It was there in the 80s?
Wait, not in the '80s, but is that up by on the Upper West Side?
I could be completely wrong and assuming it was East.
Oh, no.
And being like, wow, I wonder if they were
I
there
did
back
not know
then.
it. But Two Boots, like I remember when Two Boots was new, you know, when that first opened, and they've since shifted out here as well. But New York then was like a little down and dirty, and I was kind of a little punk rocker, and I was into it. So.
Oh my God, punk rocker,
Yeah,
Julie
I know,
Brister.
just a little bit.
I love it.
So in New York now, and I mean I don't live there anymore, but like I know that all the places that I really love have closed. Mm-hmm. And there's lots and lots of ATMs. There's just like a sea of ATMs.
You never can be far without getting a chance. I need my money.
Yeah.
Always, yes.
And I know that that New York now is really about Brooklyn, but I don't know. Like I don't know Brooklyn. I never lived in Brooklyn, so.
Me neither.
Hail Los Angeles.
Hey, LA.
So, like, what is it, the High Line up there over by Hell's Kitchen with that nice little walking area that they
Oh,
kind of,
right. And
Yes.
that was not open when I left. At the time that I left New York, there was the High Line hadn't opened. 30 Rock hadn't happened yet. like there's been a big shift since I left. And actually, like if I lived in New York now, man, the High Line is so fantastic. It's really, really, it's what a huge gift in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
But
I think it's the
would you say you
coolest.
missed that threat? You'd maybe get a couple muggers up there too, just to give that
Right.
people that
Oh,
sense
it's
of
like may or
danger.
may
Give
not
it that
get
sense of danger.
stabbed. Yeah.
I did work.
Ooh.
I did have a job on 24th and 10th Avenue at a place called State Supply Equipment and Props. And walking there, it was a long haul. Walking there, it would be like crack files and condoms with lipstick on them. Like it was a mess. It was really, really seedy. And that area now is glamour. It's so glamorous.
So
and
different.
so because of like the art scene moved out there. And then when the art scene moved out there, like that's when the bouginess kind of crept in behind it. So
Now, when you started UCB, were you there pretty much at the beginning?
I was like in the second or third round of students. So yeah, I was there in the beginning. I started taking
wow.
classes in August of '97.
Oh.
So early on.
Early on.
And I just always hear like from other comedians coming around that time, other improvisers, whether it be like Paul Scheer, Jason Mantzoukas, things like that in interviews they've done, just talking about just like how quiet, like the audiences weren't really there for shows at the beginning, and it just took a while to get
Oh
everything.
no, we had to fly. Like Besser would make us flyer in Times Square. I remember standing outside of the Toys R Us in Times Square, like trying to flyer for my Herald show. Yeah, I have a memory of that. I definitely do.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah, and we would we would also like message boards. Like the internet was also much smaller then. So like there was the Improv Resource Center online, which the IRC, which Kevin Mullaney still maintains. That was the social center of the universe. To promote your shows and to kind of talk about shows and whatnot. And now there's just so much out there. Improv is so pervasive.
Yeah, it is. It's all around. But I wanted to ask real quick, what prompted your move from New York to LA? Meaning, did you give acting like one last try, or it was just that you had gotten involved in improv and then you wanted to come bring it out here to
like when I
Los
started
Angeles?
doing improv in New York, then doors started opening.
Oh, okay.
Like career-wise. So I started freelancing with a commercial agent. I booked a commercial. I booked another one. I started doing bits on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
Oh.
And so I started getting work, and then I felt like I knew that there was more work in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see what that was like. And so I decided to make the move. And at that time in New York, like I said, like 30 Rock hadn't happened. Girls, that whole studio that they have in Brooklyn, None of that had happened yet. Was really happening. All that was really going on was soap operas, Law and Order, and late night TV, and commercials, and occasionally like, you know, a Woody Allen movie or another like independent movie. But there was just, by contrast, there was just so much more work in Los Angeles. So
Yeah.
I did it.
When you get out here, did you already have kind of a support system in place? Did other comedians come out before you and say, "Hey, Julie, just get out here. Come on, do it"?
I did have friends who were out here already, or like very few. And then when I came out, I knew that I could teach at UCB, and that that would be something that would help me root me here. And thank God for it, because it's sort of my a huge social center in my life. But I didn't move out here for a job. I didn't know any. I knew one casting person. I knew Julie Ashton, who I had auditioned for her for Mad TV and gotten called back. And so she was the only name that I knew. And then when I got out here and got an apartment, got a little cozy, I started doing like casting workshops and stuff to meet people. And I was very diligent for the first year and a half of really just trying to do the work to find my people in the business.
With those casting workshops, I've been to a few, and I always felt like most of them do not really pay off, in the sense that you're thinking that they'll stay in touch, or they might want to call you in and stuff like that. Do you felt like that helped you, or you just met people through it? Would you?
I met people through it who I still go in and audition for.
Okay.
And from there I remember I was called in to audition for Monk, and I didn't have a theatrical agent at that time. So when I got called in for that was from the workshops. And the workshops that I did was at Real Pros.
Okay. Yeah.
Which Real Pros, I will say this, good actors, they have a quality control system built in every single session that they have somebody watching everybody to make sure that people are good, have the goods.
No way, they should advertise that on their site. I know who Real Pros is.
Yeah, like it makes it like you're always sold a bill of goods when you leave New York.
Yeah.
You have, people going, "What are you doing? You're insane. Why would you go to Los Angeles? It's just a bunch of women that are like pool toys, like they don't know that, like, oh no, they're really great actors out here. There are so many fantastic, talented people. When I went in and did my first Real Pros, I was like, okay, everybody here knows what they're doing. Everybody here has something to show and give.
Yeah.
So I did that for a few months. It can be awful, and it can be fine, but it made me feel like I was doing something. And sometimes that's all you like. Anytime we actors can feel like we have some scrap of control.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things that made me feel like, this is something I have control over, that I'm getting something out of.
Yeah.
How often would people reach out to you after seeing you perform? They're like, "Oh, Julie, come in for this. We'd like you to read for this."
Not like in New York. Maybe I would find that more often than here. Like when I first moved here, I was on a regular team, but I wasn't getting called in for auditions from doing stuff at UCB. But I was on the performers page, and I know that I would get called in for that. And I did a show in New York with The Onion. And so that, I think that people also maybe knew me from that character and that show. So I would get called in maybe from for things based on that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So the performance page, you think, kind of works? Meaning, if you get to start to perform, they're going on the internet, checking that internet database for UCB.
I think
that
so.
leads to. That's cool.
I think it does. I think from the moment they put that up, that casting directors might look at that and just scan it and see who appeals to them for whatever they're trying to cast.
So what was the first thing you booked once you got out here?
Oh God. Oh, I did Little Britain, USA.
Okay.
But it was a background, but it was like a featured background thing, and I knew that Little Britain, USA, that they were going. I was a huge fan of Little Britain. I knew that they were going to be casting Little Britain USA, and I was like, they're going to do that weight loss group sketch. They're going to do an American version of that. So I started looking for things relating to that, like in the breakdowns, and I found something. and I went in, I remember I submitted it, I went in that day, and then they cast me as one of the like people in that meeting. It's not Weight Watchers, but it's like a Weight Watchers
Yeah.
thing. So that was the first thing, and I was grateful for that. Even it was basically a background thing, but I was grateful for it because I learned about working on a stage. I learned about like the lot, and it was CBS Radford, which is the cutest of all the lots. I learned what like the day was like working on a show like that, and it was also a multicam, which that was completely foreign to me. So it was an education. So I'm super grateful that I had that early on
Yeah, that's great.
to know how it works, because it's weird. It's different from doing single camera. Hugely different.
Yeah.
Well, just I mean, one thing if you have not had a chance to see Julie, you're basically just
You're
doing
an
yourself a
idiot.
disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. But just look at the things that the shows that she's been on: Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Review, Scandal, Marry Me, Playing House, Parks and Rec, The New Normal, Comedy Bang Bang, Newsreaders,
Transparent.
Transparent,
The mini project.
Yes, all these
Yeah.
leading up to Goliath. But one thing I noticed a lot of the comedy, certainly UCB just has a lot of comedians, both either performers or writers. So
Yeah.
I imagine so many connections made there that as like say Andy Daly's doing Review.
Yes.
She wants to bring you. Is that something where Andy goes, well, I know you from UCB. We've played together.
With Review, God, Review is the greatest, and I love Andy. I had auditioned to be Lucille, the secretary, and my read for Lucille was like, ooh, it's like, okay, whatever you see. It was like a dopey kind of positive Edith Bunkery type of lady. But when they started, they cast Tara, but when they started shooting, they developed the role that I got as the attorney, and she has a little bit of that that dopey quality. So that was a beautiful little bone from Andy and Andy Blitz and Jeff Blitz.
Yeah, so those
Right
writers
my
over
way.
there, then it definitely does help you out. Just
Oh
so where
my
they're
gosh.
pulling you in. I mean, if you're associated with that community, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And there are like certainly other people on that show who came out of the UCB pool. I mean, that definitely is a thing when people get when writers who are from UCB get jobs on shows, that opens the door at least a little bit for performers to go into that show.
That's great.
And Review, as you said, such a great series, and
Oh
Andy
my God,
Daly
the
is
best.
just so magnificent.
Yeah, they're going to wind it up, I guess, in 2017 with just, instead of a full series, it's just 3 episodes. So their season 3 it's a 3 episodes season. Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, just him in the Batman costume for that episode is just so
So
phenomenal.
good.
Oh,
The pancakes.
Yeah.
That's, the pancakes.
Oh, it's so great. He's so committed to it. Oh, it is such a great show.
Oh, he is just the wonderfulest.
Yeah.
Which is not a word, but it is Andy in a nutshell. He's the best.
So let's just dive right into Goliath.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Goliath.
Yes.
Goliath.
So I was talking about Goliath, Amazon's new series. It just started. They of course they released all of it.
Yes.
Some streaming networks they do it week by week. Amazon they kind of just give it all to you right
Give
there
it
at once.
all.
Yes. So 8 episodes. We've got Billy Bob Thornton. We've got William Hurt. Julie Brister,
And that's it.
Maria Bello. There you go. That's it. I'll throw Maria Bello in real quick there too
yeah.
at the end.
Oh, she's great.
And written by David E. Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
David E. Kelly and Jonathan Shapiro.
And I always loved like whether it be Ally McBeal, Picket Fences, even practice
Boston Legal.
Boston Legal,
Whole.
like him writing courtroom speeches for James Spader to deliver. I could
Yes.
not get
You couldn't
enough of
get
that.
enough.
Oh, the best.
L.A. Law.
Yeah.
L.A. Law was my
was
my
your
my first David E. Kelly was Picket Fences,
Okay.
which was so good.
Yep.
So good.
So how does this opportunity to audition for the show? How does it come to you?
my agent sent me a breakdown. This was back in, this is a year ago, just over a year ago. I got called in for a one-day role as somebody potentially working in Billy Bob Thornton's character's, Billy McBride, in his office. And it was just supposed to be a one-day thing. I booked it miraculously. The casting director at that time was Judy Lowry. And I booked it. I went in and I like, honestly, it was just like a two-line thing. It was like, nice to meet you. Okay. Like it was just a small thing, but there was a lot of room to improvise. And so I took advantage of that time and I improvised. Like there was a little cushion of time before Billy walked in the door where I was talking to Tanya Raymond, who plays Brittany. And I just improvised a bunch of stuff and they really liked it. And so it was a really fun day. I had a good day and then it was over and then I thought it was done. And then in March of this year, my agent called me and was like, Goliath wants to have you back. They're retooling the show and they've expanded your character a little bit. So you might be in more episodes. And so it was always it was kind of a surprise every week. It's like, I'm in another one. What? I'm in another one.
Ah, that's the dream.
And then I realized, I think I'm gonna be here till the end, and I was.
You were.
So it was a huge gift. It was everything you want as an actor to go in and book one thing and then have that part like turn into a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So it was it's the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me, easily.
Where did you guys shoot real quick?
Oh, we shot at
that?
the Lot.
Okay.
And locations around town, but we were based at the Lot. The Ocean Lodge Motel is a real motel.
I know, because I stayed there one
really?
time with my mom a long time ago. And so I was like, I'm
That's
not joking.
amazing. So the Ocean Lodge and Shay J are right next door to each other. Mm-hmm. And on the stage, they built the interior and part of the exterior that looked amazing. And they also built the interior of Shay J on stage. And that it is Shay J. It's like crazy how specific it is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The look for this, just watching, even just like the first episode, just the way they shoot it and the way they shoot Santa Monica, man, it is so nice.
So good.
Yes.
I thought that they were actually shooting there because I know the pickups are of the actual exterior.
Right.
But then
we
I'm
had
like,
a few
but that
days there in
looks
that parking lot.
in there, right? And I'm like, that's that place. Like Shay J's must be making bank because they got Goliath up in there, like to shut it down for however long. Oh man, that's amazing. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Staging it up.
And then I never saw the Cooperman offices. Like I never went on that stage. There was no reason for me to go on that stage. So watching the show, it was like, ooh, it's so glassy and glamorous. That was all like a fun little surprise.
You were always acting in a dump, in that dump of an apartment.
I was always in the corner of a motel room, of a seedy
or
motel
in a
room.
warehouse full of boxes.
Oh, right. Well, that was in a real storage unit. Yeah.
So what's it like for you with you get a David E. Kelly script? You open it up and say, oh my gosh, I'm reading words that David E. Kelly helped co-wrote for this.
Yeah. It was just mind-blowingly exciting. It was just so much fun. But and there was still that potential to play, you know?
Yeah.
Like at the end of your lines or whatever. It was just like, and I'm so lucky that I got to have this opportunity. I was pinching myself the entire time. Well, so lucky.
Going from that first time when you went in because you improvised and they're like, oh, we're going to build up your character. So when you went back on set, do you feel like that gave you the freedom where they're like, oh, we know her. Go ahead and button it up, Julie. Like, let's make something work. Do whatever you want. Did they say that out loud or you just like, I'm going to take the opportunity?
No, like I figured that I got hired because I was doing that.
Totally.
So I just kept doing it.
That's great.
And, some stuff they saved and some stuff really probably didn't fit in with the tone of the show. Yeah. Like I think the tone got a little darker. And so, Marva going pickled, didn't really work anymore. But I think the idea that I be there to kind of lighten the load a little bit, I think that I did that whenever I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the moment there in the third episode there where you kind of basically prove your worth to Billy Bob. He's like,
right.
why is she
She's
even
not.
here?
I told Jonathan, I was like, thank you for not making her stupid.
Yes.
Yes.
Whereas even he's expecting you just to be just a waste of his time. And then when you come up with the idea for how to get somebody from the aerospace company to be able to talk, like, whoa, you thought of this? What?
Yeah.
Right. Marvin's a genius.
Slang it with like career. What did you put? You put up a career post, and then you talk about how you got like 15 engineers reply back to you.
Right.
And then,
Yeah. And I did that.
You did it. Marva did it.
Now, it's always interesting because I think like the way social media is and just, publicity, paparazzi, things like that. If you say Billy Bob Thornton to me, I can't help but flash back to Angelina Jolie, and he's this guy like this. And but that's so long ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, and that's just like one moment at a time. So when you get a chance to work with Billy Bob Thornton, do those things immediately flash into your mind? Or just like, oh, I just know him from this guy. And then you meet him and you're like, he's not at all like what I imagined.
He is one of my favorite actors. So I didn't think about like Angelina about I thought, oh my God, I loved Fargo. Or
Yeah.
I love the Coen brothers movie, the man who wasn't there. That movie,
Yeah.
like, remember? Have you ever seen that movie? That movie is just brilliant. It's beautiful, and he is amazing in it. And so that's what I'm thinking. It's like, here's this actor who I admire so much and appreciate so much and have for so long, and he's so nice. He's such a nice person and very like friendly and communicative and very, very nice, normal person.
Really? So he's like welcoming, like you felt sort of comfortable. I would
Totally.
assume. Okay.
I felt comfortable, and also he's from Arkansas. I'm from West Texas.
Oh, okay.
Like I felt like we had maybe similar, more similarities, like in our upbringing. But the other thing, like in watching him work, because it was just a feast of great actors on the show, and watching him work and how nuanced he would be, and you'd be like, I don't know that, like, what is he doing? And then you watch in the monitor, it's like watching him live and then watching in the monitor, and it's like when you watch what he's doing in the monitor, and there's so much going on. That is somebody who really knows how to work with a camera.
Yeah.
Knows how to convey big things doing very, very little.
Subtle stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Was there ever a moment when you were like improvising and Billy was like, that's funny?
Oh, I think so. Like we improvised. We had a fun back and forth in the storage unit. Like we improvised a lot.
That was a
in
great
that.
scene. Yeah.
And yeah, we had some fun there.
Yeah, he just left you high and dry. All those
He
files.
did. But at least he left the door open.
He did.
And it's so interesting with this is with the streaming model where everything's just put out on one day. You've got all the episodes there as opposed to weekly where it's you get a little buzz each week as it kind of builds up towards the finale. What's it like working on a series where all of a sudden it's like all 8 episodes are out. Everybody can talk to you the next morning about the whole entire series.
Well, this is the first time I've had that experience, and yeah, it is like it is a very odd thing because everything is out immediately. The nice thing is that you hear from people, like it's not like you just heard from everybody the next day. You hear from people like as they watch it because they can watch it anytime they want. So I hope to keep hearing from people periodically. But it is, I'm sure, just like it is like a very, very different feeling of like, okay, it's all out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what am I going to do now? All right.
Did you ever do any tweeting about the show, like when it first dropped? I think it came out on the 17th or something of October. Did they ever say, "Oh, let's do a live tweet for the drop," or did you have to do any social media?
Nothing that
on
I
the
had to
outskirts?
do, like I did just on my own, because I'm wired like that.
Yeah.
Like I definitely promoted it before it dropped, but I didn't do any of like controlled social media stuff. Like a lot of shows do that.
Yeah.
Like have a social media day where that is what they do.
They do.
that day.
Yeah.
that. And
Not
just that.
Goliath. They got Billy Bob. They don't need that.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think, I think Billy has a Twitter account, but I don't think he's been on it since like 2012.
Yeah.
I don't think that is his thing. I think he likes baseball.
Okay. So when you say hardwired for promoting, is that just like flashing back to the days of Matt Besser making you just flyer in Times
Yeah,
Square?
In
It's
a
like,
way, yeah.
always be promoting.
That's what it is. I think that is what it is. That Twitter and even Instagram are the flyer passers of today.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do it on Twitter or Instagram than
Yeah,
to
you can sit
live
at home.
flyer.
You don't have to worry about setting up in Times Square.
Yeah. That makes me think of like, were there any like life fails on set or like a funny moment behind the scenes, a fun fact about anything that happened while you were shooting? Or anything that you can think of, you're like, oh, that was a funny moment or like an epic fail.
Oh, a funny or an epic fail.
Or maybe you just had none of those.
Oh, I can't think of any epic fail days other than like my hair is curly, and if it got hot, like my hair would fade.
Right.
But in terms of like behind the scenes on the show,
Mm-hmm.
no, it was like a really good experience.
Yeah.
It was, relatively drama free.
Yeah.
Like it was fun.
Yeah.
It was like it was a really, really great gig.
That's great.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. One time I got called in to be in a scene, and I showed up and I got in costume, and then I wasn't in that scene. I got to go home. So if that can be that's a minor. That's a minor fail.
That's a minor.
That's a tiny.
We're
a
talking minor
minute
fails.
Fail.
Okay. I have not been introduced to minor fails yet until today. So thank you for that.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should all be well acquainted with minor fails. Baby fails.
Julie, with improv, so many people, there are people that do it because they just love the art form. And then there are other people that are doing it because whether they think it's going to help them as an actor or their agent says, you know what, you should take some improv classes.
So many people are like that.
So for you, what has improv meant to you in your life?
Oh my God. Improv, like one, we're all improvisers here, right? Mm-hmm. Like the minute I started doing it, I started taking classes and really going to see shows, I was addicted. Like I had to see more, the further that I got into it. And when I started to feel like, I think I get this, you really get addicted to it. And it's fun and social and exciting. And yes, I think it is helpful for us as actors. I know that I didn't really start working until I started improvising. Mm-hmm. So in that way, that's a huge asset. I do think a lot of agents and managers tell people, you got to go to UCB and take your classes. And I think a lot of those people should not be taking improv classes because I don't think... I love comedy. I grew up loving comedy. I loved Steve Martin. I loved... I'm sorry. I loved Bill Cosby in those early days. I loved Richard Pryor. I loved Eddie Murphy. I was really into SNL. I loved comedy a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I teach improv. I have students now who have no interest in comedy, and that's a weird thing because it's like I feel like you have to have an interest in this thing in order for you to be successful at it.
Yeah.
And I find now because it has become bigger and more mainstream, you got a lot of people in there that have no interest in comedy.
But they just say like, well, this is what people say that you need to do. So
Yes.
this is I just have to tick this off the box.
I think that they look at UCB now as that those are acting classes, that they're like acting classes, and it's like, okay, there are things that we can that relate to acting class, like the thing that I think helps actors the most are just like actively listening, being affected, reacting, like those. That's the bread and butter of what we can take into our acting jobs. I forgot where I was going.
Well, on with that of like kind of piggybacking off what you said is that when I was in class, there was like two actors that were both dramatic actors who do not like comedy, don't watch it. I would ask them about stuff. They're like, well, I'm not really into, I'm just like my manager, I'm here. And it was it was already 2:01 and they were planning to go through the whole thing. They were both brilliant actors in a sense, like they can both cry on cue and really great if it would get down to like a dramatic scene. But it was a little frustrating to be in class with people who I guess just didn't like comedy, because you're like, well, what am I doing here in class then? Meaning I assume for you from a teacher's aspect that it might be a little bit, I don't know, difficult to teach people who might not be as like, oh, I like really want to be here versus like my manager's making me take these classes.
Those people get weeded out early. I find like if you had it, that's unusual that you had them like in 201, because I feel like in 101 is fun. Like it's the most fun. Yeah. Because it is like it's a social thing, and you're doing these working on foundational stuff on all the fundamentals. The stakes are low. You usually have a nice mix of people, of actors, writers, and attorneys, and people that just lost their jobs, and so you usually stay friends with those people for a long time, and things get more serious as you go into 2-1. I feel like a lot of the, my agent told me to take this, people like kind of fall by the wayside after that. Right. Because they also, those same people don't go see shows. And I don't know about you, but that's how I learned how to improvise. Yeah. I would go see shows. I would go see ASCAT every Sunday night. I would be like, oh, I like what Brian Stack is doing. I'm going to take that. Oh, I like what Amy's doing. Or Andy Richter. I'm going to take that. Yeah. You watch and you steal. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah, it's all about like moves kind of in your head in the moment, right? Yeah. Of like a move that you could use.
I like the way that she reacts. I like the timing. I like, you watch shows and you learn by watching others. And you also learn how to play the game in that way. So like, I think that's really important to see. If you want to improvise, if you want to get on stage, is to see as much improv as you can.
Well, speaking of that then, who would you say are just just a handful of your improv idols?
Oh, well, Andy Richter. Andy Richter is so funny. He is so funny. And in those early days of ASCAT, Andy did it almost every week. So I would see him a lot. And I haven't seen him improvise in a long time, but he's busy. Amy Poehler, number one, and she was also my favorite teacher. And she's just like the most inspired and inspirational person, and I love her as a human and as an improviser. All the UCB, I think, were all my idols. Just watching them, they were just wonderful.
So amazing you were taught by Amy.
Yeah, multiple classes. Wow. Yeah, very, very, very lucky. She was just the best. And then Tina Fey. When I started improvising, Tina had just moved to New York from Chicago. The very first improv class that I took, and this is before I had done any improv at all, but they were doing a group, like a class for women. And I think that they wanted this class to be experienced improvisers, but I somehow snuck in the door. And Tina and Amy kind of ran the class, this workshop, like doing just giving us suggestions and kind of ran through the exercises and scene work that we did. And I didn't see her perform for a while, but when I finally did see her perform, I just like Tina is fantastic, and Tina and Amy are both real. Both amazing improvisers. They use specifics. They use use real specifics. And it was the first time, and very different from like some of the other improvisers that I'd seen. It was the first time I'd seen people be like, "Oh, you're funny," just by using the names of things and using your own life and using things that you see and have like a part of your daily life. And that, I feel like, was a big eye-opener for me, that is what we need to be doing as improvisers, is using our own personal information, our own truth, all that good stuff. Our honest truth.
Oh, I love it.
Well, now taking that Improv 2 set, is it a case-by-case basis for you when you get on set? And you said for Goliath, you when you went in for that first time, you had that little moment and you improvised around that scene. Do you kind of gauge the almost like the temperature of the room and the set before you do that?
You have to read like the tone of the room. Yeah, like because there was some heavier like there was a scene that eventually got cut and retooled, but it was a scene between me, between Billy and the clergy, Dr. Amen, and I mean Reverend Amen, and where I'm just here on the side. That would not have been a good place for me to start pomegranates, you know, to start doing things like my shtick.
Yeah.
And so I knew when I pretty much knew when I could and when I couldn't, or when it would be appropriate. And when it would not.
Rolling with that common sense train.
Yeah, definitely.
Got it.
Definitely.
I love it.
It's a good gift to have.
Yeah.
More for on the majority of the shows that you've been on, more comedy based before.
Certainly.
When they are bringing you on to be part of the show, are they doing that because they also know, like, you know, Julie's great, but she also is an improviser, so we know that she could add a little something to this as well?
I think like review, we improvise a ton. So like that, there's a lot of improv in review. The show that I did for The Onion, there was a lot of it was written, but there was a lot of room for us to improvise, like me and Brian Husky, who was also on the same panel show, and Laura Kraft. Like I think it depends. I have had shows if I'm in a scene where I have the last word in the scene, I'm going to keep going.
Button it.
I'm gonna look for something else to try to end on something fun. So like I do that on auditions, I do that everywhere. And if they don't want me to do that, they'll tell me.
Yeah.
You know, if I do it and they're like, no. Yeah.
I'm just yelling at you.
I'm wondering if that'll ever happen. Oh, I guess.
Oh my
it has
God, that's
occasionally.
happened to me.
Oh, where they're like, don't keep going, Tara.
Yep. They're like, stop. The writers do not like that. He does not like it when someone tries to tag at the end and make it like. I was like, okay. And she's like, it was funny, but don't do that. And I'm like, okay. But she was nice enough to say, we'll do it again and just lose all of that.
Wow.
Which it wasn't that much. It was like a sentence, but yes. And now never for commercials. No one's ever said don't do that for a theatrical side.
Because they don't want you to write them. They want you to.
Yeah.
They want to use your stuff.
They're like, yeah, exactly. They're like, get out of here. Our writers need to, keep their jobs.
Yeah.
Because I come in and they're like, "Oof, you might want to come in and take over the whole script." They don't think that, but I'm saying.
I have a friend who improvised something in a commercial audition. She improvised a line in a commercial audition, and they loved it. And then she left the room. She did not book it, but they used her line in the
She
final
should get
commercial.
paid.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing where it's like.
I know it's a weird improv thing. Is weird. Yeah. You'd have to. You might have to ruin your relationship with that.
Yeah,
like,
but
right?
It's
If you're like
so cruddy of the.
I agree.
Yeah.
Using somebody else's
end
gold
agency.
on a different face and body.
Yeah.
I would. Speaking of writers, I feel like I'd be intimidated because I feel like if you think of great TV writers, Aaron Sorkin, David E. Kelly, people like that, where if you get a script from them, maybe I'm just going to read what they wrote because they're awesome.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So just to have, sorry, I'm going to read it, but I still feel confident enough in what I can do that I will improvise a little something to do this. Did in that moment did you ever have a thought like, should I do it? No. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I would have that feeling. I would have that feeling from time to time. I'll also add that Billy is very improvisational. Like he was really good at like paring things down, and I think he's a good improviser. He's a really good improviser. So it wasn't like I felt like I was alone in that. And Nina Arianda also I think she was comfortable improvising.
That's awesome.
In a way that that was helpful. It made me not feel like I'm like alone in this. But I agree. Like there were times where I'd be like, can I do this here? Also, if the more people are in the scene, the more do I do it? Oh, I don't want to make anybody mad.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No, I just want to get my little yayas out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yayas. Oh, I love it. Yayas.
My yayas.
That makes me okay. One question that I definitely wanted before I forget is that a character breakdown, when you get it, because you get a character, if you look at character breakdowns, what is one that you would be really excited to submit to? Like, what would be your thing that you read it and you're like, yes, that you look forward to?
Anything that shows a strong point of view for the character.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that like that says something about like I look for words like nosy or words like bitter, dark, quirky, delightful. Like any descriptive words are helpful for me to kind of know where I'm going to go. I will say that like as a big lady, I get a lot of things that are just like you know fat lady in line at the fair, and I don't. That's what I try to avoid.
Yeah.
I don't really like going up for those kinds of things, only because it's like the writer has not realized this character as fully as maybe she deserves to be, or as fully as I would like to, to go in. I don't, and that sometimes is like a battle you just can't win. And I have done those things. Believe me, I've done more than my share, but I'm more excited about things that have nothing to do with that
that
with
it's
my
just
size.
that it's more rounded out and just like
definitely.
based on talent or comedy or witty or what you were saying before. Yeah.
But anything that shows like a point of view. What about you?
It's a good. Most of the time, it's going to be comedic or like quirky, weird, odd, any of those where it can be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Then most of the time, I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to go in there and probably get a call back. Most of the time, just because I'm kind of weird and like. You guys know.
You're such a wonderful weirdo. You know, I love auditioning. I love auditioning for like Disney stuff or stuff for kids, because those characters are always like a little broad.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of fun. It's just fun. It's fun to go out and do like kind of a big schmaltzy character.
That's awesome. Yeah, like Nickelodeon or Disney probably does that.
Yeah, I think so.
I like it.
Or Good Luck Charlie, because I know you were on there.
That was a good job.
That's a great, because that's a great show. There are too many Disney Channel shows that I've watched where it's like, all right, yep.
Yeah, and that was a fun, like that to me is the classic, because this was like, whoa, that lady was like pickles, pomegranates, like times 11. She was such a funny, like big character, and it was a blast. Loved it.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck with me if we stop.
Right.
Just never get stuck. No, just watch it go descent into madness. Julie, as we start wrapping up, Goliath usually be saying, "Hey guys, watch Goliath," and you can still continue to watch Goliath because it is on all the
time on Amazon.
Yes, it is there. But now, what do you have coming up in addition to that?
Well, I have the third season of a review.
Yes.
After the next year, I'm teaching, I'm writing, I'm keeping busy.
And
I'm
every
auditioning.
Friday, right? At UCB or every other Friday?
And first Friday of every month, I do a show at 7:30 called Location.
That's what it is.
Usually first and third Fridays, but check the schedule. First Friday, I know that we do have a show this Friday, the 4th.
And it's at Sunset, right?
And it's at UCB
Sunset,
and
which
it's
is
fun.
a cool theater.
We do a mono scene. It's a good time.
I love it. It's a great show. I've been, so I put my stamp on it, girl.
Thank you.
That's right. Got that. You guys got Tara's seal of approval right there. Yes.
Because that's what she needed.
I do. Oh, God. Tara likes it.
I do.
All right, so Julie, as we're wrapping up, where can they follow you if they want to just keep up with everything you've got going on?
Okay. At Brister Soldier, BRISTAHSOULJAH on Twitter and Instagram.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tweet at you pickles, pomegranates, and yayas.
Thank you.
You guys can find me, if you want to, on Twitter at the Tara Erickson.
You can follow me at Happy Go Jackie. You probably won't want to though, so it's okay, guys. It's fine.
No, you do.
worries.
I follow him.
Oh, it's
I'm
really
following
boring.
you now.
Oh, right. Julie Brister followed me. What a great day this is.
Boom.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us here on Spotlight on Julie Brister. Make sure to check out Goliath, folks. It is an awesome show. We'll see you
amazing.
next time here on AfterBuzz TV.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.